What? There's a food shortage coming in the next year and it's even worse than it already is? What are we gonna do? Hey my dudes, how's it hanging? It's your boy ZNF1 here. Today I want to talk with you guys a bit about water bath canning and why it's such a good thing. But before we go into this though, let's Alright, so canning your foods is always a good idea simply because you'll be able to preserve a lot more in case times like these happen. Or you might happen to be more broke so you don't have as much money, but thankfully you can stuff when you did have a decent amount of money still. So now you have food to eat for a couple of weeks. Food prep is always a good fucking thing to actively do throughout the year so that way you guys can be prepared in case you ever need the stuff and you don't have means to get it otherwise, whether it's through hunting or vice versa, so might as well start doing that. But to get started with water bath canning, all you need is a water bath can or your standard stock pot that you'd have at home, just a big one that's big enough to where you can have 3 inches of water above the cans that you're using. You also need fine sea salt or pickling salt, in addition to mason jars. You can use quarts or the little smaller ones like the pints and everything like that, and then a couple little tools like the funnel for said cans. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and head right upstairs and start getting on that stuff. Alrighty, so quick mention here for the water bath canning. You definitely want to make sure that you have a sort of rack to put the jars on, kind of like what I got here. It's very important to have this because if you don't have any sort of space, it can't do its job properly. Anywhere between 0.5 inches or probably max 3 inches would be pretty good, but this is what you want in something like this. This is for my pressure canner and cooker that I got. Cans, same size, so I do a 250 for about 10 minutes. And in the meantime, while that's going on, you can toss your lids. There's 2 in here we'll be using, so just toss them in the water, and boil them. Do it for a couple minutes, and then they'll get those lids nice and sanitized. Now, the reason why you want those sanitized, obviously, is because you don't want to have any bacteria growing in the cans, because if you do that, you can get pretty sick from it, and it's just no fun. So today we'll be canning green beans, the old favorite on the channel. You can can things like fruits which are naturally acidic and above that pH level, which needs to be a 4.6 in order for you to do water bath canning. This specific method, it has to be that, otherwise you can't do it. Or you can use vinegar, which is what we're doing today to do the green beans, so to speak. Gives a little bit of a pickling effect, but nonetheless, it's still canning, Another quick tip for making water bath canning really good is to smash the shit out of that like button and hit the subscribe button. Now, all joking aside, it really does help when you guys do this. Helps us to get further up in the YouTube algorithm and helps to enlighten people on topics like these and help them to be more self-sufficient and independent of the systems that we live in. But with that being said, let's get back to the video. So for canning these green beans, we need to do a certain amount of vinegar per quart jar. And basically with the vinegar, you mix it in with the water and bring it to a boil, and the salt as well too. You don't really need to do the salt. You can just toss it in with the green beans and when they're dry, and then toss the vinegar and water solution in on top of that salt, and give her a stir before you start water bath canning it. So for us, it's going to be specifically 1.25 teaspoons per quart jar. And the reason why that is because we're taking the normal amount from a recipe I found online. It says for the amount they had, it was 2 tablespoons per gallon. So what's a quart of a gallon? It's a quarter of it. So, just take that and divide it by 4 or, quarter it. And that's what we got. And then the sea salt or the fine sea salt that we're using, gotta be fine. It's gonna be a quarter of a teaspoon. So then, once your lids are done, what you wanna do obviously is remove them, but use tongs because the shit is hot. And you know, once your jars are done, make sure you have a silicone mitt or you have canning tongs. Very helpful. You don't want to touch the shit, it's extremely hot. I don't have tongs for when I'm pulling it out of the water bath, but I do have these mitts, so it'll make it to where I can actually grab them. So I got my teaspoon of vinegar. We're gonna dump it in here real quick along with the 0.5. We're waiting on everything to boil. What you can do is snap your green beans and stuff like that. You gotta make them 1/2 inch thick, little portions. But while we're waiting on our stuff to boil here, we'll want to take care of that. Alrighty, so you know, while that's getting done and you have your green beans snapped and taken care of in those little 1/2 inch segments, what you want to do next obviously is start to fill up the jars with them. So you just try to get these as full as possible and pop them in, you know, and get them full. Make sure to leave about 1 inch though, so stop about right here or right at the lip there, because that's about 1 inch from the top, so that way it doesn't like have too much liquid in or anything like that, so it can actually pressurize. Get your little poker tool, make sure there's, you know, not that much airspace, it's all nice and packed down in there. Then what you do next is, you know, get your solution and pour on it. Again, we're gonna do this just enough so there's just 1 inch of water left. Also, before we get, we can put salt in there. Now, while it's not necessary, the salt does help it with the taste though. We got the salt in there and just finished pouring it on. Alright, that gives us about a solid 1 inch there. Now, while this is not necessary, I do highly recommend getting one of the magnets because it does make your life easier, especially to make things more sterile. So you just sit there and plop it on, makes your life so much easier. And you don't have to worry about bacteria again or anything since you use the magnet. Then, you know, put your old ring on and screw her on, and then get your water bath ready so that way it can, you know, can. By the way, this doesn't need to be that tight, it just needs to be tight enough. You know, just toss her in and get the water to a boil, and then it's just a waiting game. Take about 5 to 10 minutes roughly. Well, once you got this sound going and it's boiling like that, give it about 5-10 minutes. Time to grab her out. Again, use a mitt or canning tongs so you do not burn yourself because it's going to suck. Then once that's done, you know, you just let it set out to dry and wait 24 hours, put it in a place where it's not going to be disturbed, you know, so that way it'll get that nice little pop going. And once that pop happens and you can't push down on the top little button no more, that's when you know that's all good. Alrighty, so with that being said, my dudes, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it to be educational or enlightening on the topic of water bath canning. If you guys make it to the end of this video, go and leave the word canned in the comment section down below. Let me know that you made it to the end and that you guys are part of the 100% club. Now, if you guys want a more interactive experience, join us on YouTube or my main YouTube or Twitch Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:30, 10:30 p.m. Central Time for streams. We can talk about stuff like this, conspiracies, dark humor, goof around, you know, have good times and just all around good vibes. But I'll leave links for that as well as our Discord in the description below. If you guys want to join that, we share memes, dark humor, conspiracies, talk spiritual shit in there, all that good stuff, in addition to having movie/weeb night every other Friday. So it'll be this coming Friday, we'll have our next one. We've been watching Death Note currently since it's been more spooky season, so we're trying to stick to that stuff since it's the month of Halloween. Either way, I do appreciate you guys very much and hope you enjoyed. If you like this content, check out, again, my main YouTube channel if you want. I got content on exposing the corruption that lies within the systems that we live in, especially here in America. It got some quality ass content on there for sure, so feel free to check that out if you guys are interested in that, because our whole theme here on this channel or in this tribe is fuck the system. We don't need them. We can do shit ourselves and with our community members and just ourselves. We don't need them to fucking thrive or survive. But until next time though, my dudes, please don't forget to live long, prosper, take care and peace, keep it 1,000,000% real, and remember, fuck the system. I'll see you guys on the flip side.